This is on the bottom of page 300 in your textbook, lesson 56, and we're going to do letter B now. B. Let's get a handy dandy color here. That's letter B. All right, so this one says 1/4, and this time we are adding 2/5. Now, in your book, it's written on top of each other, but I'm writing it this way on purpose. All right, so we're going to use the butterfly method. Again, you don't have to use this method. I think it's a lot easier. So first thing we're going to do is multiply 4 times 5 to get our denominator, and that gives us 20. And then we're going to multiply 5 times 1 and 2 times 4. So 5 times 1 is 5, and 2 times 4 is 8. And then we're going to add those two together. 8 plus 5 is 13. And now, we're always going to ask ourselves if that one reduces. It does not reduce. So that is our final answer. That's letter B. All right, let's go ahead and do Let's go ahead and do letter C while we're on a roll here. Letter C says 3/4. Again, this is letter C. 3/4 minus, this time we're subtracting, 1/3. Okay, again, I'm going to use the butterfly method. If you're used to getting a common denominator, hopefully you already see that it would probably be 12. But if you just want to use the butterfly method, we're going to get the denominator right away. So 4 times 3 is 12. There we go. And then we're going to multiply 3 times 3. That gives us 9. And 4 times 1, that is minus 4. The reason I wrote it as minus is because we have a minus sign right there. So what's 9 minus 3? Or sorry, 9 minus 4 is 5. And we just write down our denominator and we are done because that cannot reduce. All right, that's letter C. I mean, see how easy this is? All right. So let's do letter D. Letter D says 2/3. And then we are going to add this time 1/4. Now, again, you don't have to do it this way that I'm doing it. You can find a common denominator and go ahead and add them together like your parents taught you or you learned a couple years ago. All right, but I'm going to do it the easy way. 3 times 4, that gives my 12. And then 2 times 4, that is 8. 3 times 1, that is plus 3. And the reason I'm writing plus is because there's a plus right there. So 8 plus 3 is 11/12. And that is in lowest form, so I'm going to go ahead and circle it. That's my answer. All right, one more and we're done. All right, so let's do another. All right, let's see. This one is 1/3 minus 1/4. All right. So again, all we're going to do is we're going to multiply that times that. 3 times 4 is 12. And then 3 times 1 is 1 times 4 is 4. We're going to do the left side first. 1 times 4, that's 4. And then 3 times 1 is minus 3. Now, why did I write minus? Because of that minus sign right there. Because we know we have to subtract. So 4 minus 3 is 1. And then 1/12. That is our final answer. That one was letter E. Look how fast we're going through this. Now, we didn't have to find a common denominator on any of these. We could have and just done it the long way. But these were easy enough that we can do that. Now, we didn't go over this in class much today because of time. But I'm going to go ahead and go over F, G, and H on the bottom of the page. It says, before comparing, write each pair of fractions with common denominators. Well, guess what? What we just did with the butterfly method makes this so easy. We're going to do it almost the same way. All right, so we're going to do letter F. All right, so we have 2/3, and we're going to compare it, that's what that circle's for, to 1/2. Now, if you already know which one is bigger, we're going to use the less than signal, the greater than signal, or the equal to signal. We're going to we're going to compare these fractions to see which one's bigger, smaller, or if they are equal, okay? So, but the way that we can do this using the butterfly method is exactly the same way. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, 2 times 2 is what? Notice we're starting at the left. So 2 times 2 is 4. And then if we go on this side, what is 3 times 1? Is 3. So which one of those is bigger? The 4. So we can say that 2/3 is greater than 1/2. Now, that one might have been pretty easy to see because you know that 2/3 of something is bigger than 1/2 of something. If we look at this in a circle, 2/3 would look something like this, and you would be covering 2/3 of it in like that. So 2 out of 3 pieces, right? If we're talking about pizza, and 1/2 of a pizza would just be that. So notice how this part of the pizza is bigger than this part of the pizza. Now, I know I didn't write that very near, but again, you can use the same butterfly method to compare fractions. All right, so letter G, let's do letter G together. So letter G says 4/6. Now, this one's a little bit trickier, and we're going to compare it to 3/4. They look really similar, right? They look pretty close together. The way that we can find out which one is bigger or smaller or equal to is we're just going to use the butterfly method. We're going to first compare the right side. So we're going to say 4 times 4, and that gives us 16 on this side. Well, what if we do 6 times 3? What does that give us on this side? 18. So which one is bigger? This one is bigger. So the sign would go this way. So 4/6 is less than 3/4. Okay, does that make sense? All right, let's do another one, and hopefully it will start to really make sense. All right, let's do the last one. Letter H. 2/3, and we're going to compare it to 3/5. Those two are close, right? If you looked at, if we broke these down visually, they would look really close as far as like a pizza is concerned. And I can do that in a minute. But how do we find out which one is bigger? We're just going to use the butterfly. So we're going to start from the left. We're going to say 2 times 5 is what? 10. Or 3 times 3 is 9. So which one is bigger? The 10. So that 2/3 must be greater than 3/5. Wasn't that easy? Again, you can use the same butterfly method to compare fractions. All right, we will be doing a lot more of this on Thursday in class, and hopefully you've watched this video and tell me what you think. See you soon.